बात करते हैं.
नहीं नहीं, बहुत बढ़िया, very nice. Yeah, so we'll take a question. Yeah, please go ahead. You are getting the mic, madam दे रही हैं. आ रही है.
Okay, so as Sir Mr. Mehta said that like we are shifting from unorganized to organized sector, and kind of lots of. So what I remember, and being in HR, I have observed one thing, that in the unorganized sector, lots of labor laws, lots of compliances are compromised.
Correct.
And are we ready? Is India ready to kind of make that shift? That is a paradigm shift. Is India ready for that? And if yes, then will India be competitive? Which, right now, for the last few years, we have been very competitive as compared to other European countries or US. In the labor market, we are cheaper. Labor is cheaper here. But if we do all the compliances, if we take care of the social security, we take care of the health security of the labor, then is it possible for India to remain as competitive as we are today? So what's your take on this?
I think very, very nice question and very right question. Please put a round of applause for this question, because that actually gives a dimension that while we are doing this type of intervention, how we are making ourselves equipped for the next level. Really, really very nice. And I'll just put my input, and then, probably other panelists can also include that. I was chairman with IWRC 2025, just happened just 3 days back. And we have got almost 700 people globally attended that conference. And what was coming out is that India is coming up with 4 new labor codes. Like almost 300 laws is getting, completely consolidate in these 4 labor codes. And because of this labor code, what will happen is the complete uniformity across the industry, across country, across level is going to happen. And that's starting of a new era. Like as we talk about before GST and after GST, we talk about before demonetization, after demonetization. So same thing is going to have a very great impact now. The thing has been already started. And what will happen is that it will take little time, due course of time, but slowly, slowly, it will become the norm, and it is going to give a great social security to all the people, and that's how it is going to happen. So very, very good, question while putting it on that. And now I think that you guys are getting contender for that surprise what we talk about. जिसका क्वेश्चन सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग होगा, उसको एक सरप्राइज हमारे तरफ से मिलेगा. करेक्ट? तो हमारे पास में पहला कॉन्टेस्टेंट आ गया है. राइट? बट स्टिल picture abhi baki hai mere dost. Okay, yeah. So we have got,
my question to Dr. Rupesh, you talked about the retention strategy, and you also spoke about graceful entry and graceful exit. How does it vary, because you have handled a lot of industries? What exactly makes people to retain, and how it varies across different industry? What is exactly meant by a graceful entry? Of course, everybody, whenever somebody comes in, he's always given a hero's welcome. Somebody exits, fine, nobody bothers about him. So how do you manage it?
Yeah, so Tejas ji, you want to start, and then I'll add on to the things. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please go ahead, Rupesh ji.
See, without cultivating a culture of learning, the thing is possible. So once you attract the resource, which is a raw for your industry, you may utilize 60% of his or her exposure in past industry or the employment, but 40% is still yet to create. So without offering learning platforms to the newcomer, offering opportunities to learn, try and run, none of the industry would be able to retain any talent, because talent himself or herself, they would like to develop themselves. Okay, so very straight. मेरा सिंपल रिप्लाई ये होगा कि हमें न्यू रिसोर्स को अट्रैक्ट भी करना पड़ेगा और उसके बाद में ट्रेंड करना पड़ेगा, देन ओनली यू वुड बी एबल टू रिटेन इट. बाकी तो बहुत सारी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं जो इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक होती है, जिसे हम एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट के अंदर के कवरेज में लेके चलते हैं. सो एवरीथिंग इज रिलेटेड टू द पीपल पर्सपेक्टिव और योर टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोसेस पर्सपेक्टिव, दैट इज इंडस्ट्री नीड बेस्ड. ओके, सो again, the topmost is learning platforms, then exploiting the innovations,
आपको टेक्नोलॉजी भी लिवरेज करनी पड़ेगी so that it facilitates the resources to easy their task, whatever task is been assigned to the existing or the new coming resources in the industry. So if anything else is not suspected, you can raise a cross question to me. So, thank
Very
you.
nice, very nice. Yeah, Jagdish, you want to add?
What I have seen, train the people like anything. कल ही छोड़ के बंदा चला जाए, छोड़ कल ही एंड देन गिव फैसिलिटीज़, कभी नहीं जाए आपके पास से. हम लोग डरते हैं यार कि मेरा बंदा बहुत स्मार्ट बन जाएगा तो चला जाएगा. ट्रेन हिम लाइक एनीथिंग, देन गिव फैसिलिटीज़, कभी नहीं जाएगा. रुपेश सर ने बताया कि कल्टिवेट द कल्चर काइंड ऑफ. हमारी कंपनी में एक पॉलिसी है, मेरा एग्जीक्यूटिव जाएगा ना इंटरव्यू देने के लिए कहीं, उससे पूछेगा सर मेरा इंटरव्यू चला जाऊँ क्या मैं. इतना हमने ओपन कर रखा किसी को भी. यू आस्क, वी आर हैप्पी इनफ, गो फॉर गो एंड गेट ग्रोथ. सेकंड वन, हमारी कंपनी में उतना ही वेलकम आने पे होता है तो जाने पे भी होता है. सम वन इज गोइंग विद द प्रॉपर प्रोसेस, बहुत अच्छा उसमें हम लोग ट्रीटमेंट. बिलीव हमारे पास में 6 लोग वापस आए, खैर यही वो कंपनी है जहाँ में काम करना चाहिए. पीपल डू गिव वैल्यू एज इंडक्शन एज द एग्जिट. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's understand from Tejas, yeah, your views.
So I'll just add one bit to it, and this is something that I firmly believe in. People do not leave companies today because the work is bad. They leave companies primarily because the culture and the people they work with are bad, right? So there are no bad works, there are bad bosses generally, which is what causes people to leave, right? Honestly, I deal with a lot of kids who are in MBA because I am a visiting faculty at B schools. And one of the common reasons I see a lot of the youngsters leaving is because they find the culture very toxic, right? And this toxic culture has been ingrained in them by none other than us, because we are examples for them, right? When we say, look, we're going to work overtime because we want to feel, or we want others to feel that we are productive. This makes it a norm for them to work overtime, and they feel, look, let me spend some more time in office, just trying to show that I'm working, but actually creative and productive work is not happening, right? In the same way, when we talk about a graceful entry and a graceful exit, very often when we're onboarding people in our organization, as HR professionals, what we tend to do is, we tend to tell people, do you really fit into our boxes? We have a checklist, and we say, look, this is our checklist, A, B, C, D, E, F. Do you really satisfy these criteria? And if you don't, you might be the most capable person out there, but sorry, we can't hire you, right? So what we're actually doing is, we're hiring for checklists. We're not hiring for capability and what the person can do and add value to beyond our checklists. Sometimes it becomes very important to understand that people are more than just checklists, right? And similarly, when a person is exiting an organization, usually the primary bone of contention is, "Tum mujhe chhod ke kyun ja rahe ho? Why are you leaving this organization? Why are you leaving me?" And more often than not, the bosses or the seniors start getting vindictive. How dare you leave me at this critical stage of the project? You see what I'm going to do to you. Aapka full and final settlement we will hold off, or we will do this, we will do that, we'll not give you a recommendation, right? If we start creating cultures like this across organizations, what examples are we setting for those youngsters who are exiting? Tomorrow they will be the leaders and they will say, I will do unto others what was done unto me, right? So the most important aspect here is to break this vicious cycle somewhere and say, hey, look, I understand that I am going to treat you the way I would love to be treated, and that is with fairness. And that's the key. Be fair to everybody. If you are fair to everybody, the concept of grace will automatically come in, because grace can only come in with fairness, not otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we'll take a question after this.
Not a question, I just wanted to add something.
Please,
go
ahead.
But Mr. Tejas has said very rightly, but
Yeah.
just to aid in that, we are talking about the graceful entry and exit. I believe, and my observation, I have two extreme examples for this. So I believe that the graceful entry and exit depends upon the employee himself also.
Both the way.
Yeah,
Both the way.
both the way.
Yeah.
And I have two extreme examples. One is I had in one of my organization, I had a very junior level of employee, and he worked with us for 8, 9 years, long years, and when he left, even, the top management was not very, they were not kind of recognizing, or they were not saying that, it was not in their mind that someone is leaving. But when we, as a HR team, when we organized his farewell, we invited even the managing director of the company, we invited the whole top management. And you won't believe that 50% of the people who were there in the farewell party, they were crying. There were tears in their eyes. And another example is there when there was a very senior level employee who left, and he worked with us for 9 years, and the farewell was organized very excitingly. Everyone was so excited about the farewell. Even MD was asking me again and again how's the preparation for farewell is going on and all that stuff. And when we organized this, believe me, even I was not very sure whether I would be participating in that farewell or not. So it was not like, not only me, but most of the people, they were not very excited. Okay, we have to be there because he was a senior person. And, we went there. But the cry and all that stuff was probably, that was his own karma, I would say.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, that's an emotion, and that's like, the connect which an organization create. So definitely, thanks for such a great value addition.
Thank you.
And I can see a future panelist, we are getting the name. Very nice. Now taking the discussion to the next level, and wherever we are just looking forward, that while we talk about so many AIs coming in picture, so many, new technology coming in picture, the talent transformation strategy, one is that whether our organization is ready for that, one. Second one is that if we are ready, then what are the unforeseen challenges, or what are the challenges we can foresee, and how should we prepare for it? So let's start with Tejas, and then afterwards, we can take Dr. Rupesh and Jagdish ji.
So honestly, I think there is no dispute in the fact that AI is here, right? None of us dispute the fact that it has already disrupted to a large extent, and it will continue to disrupt the way human beings engage with other human beings, right? Because earlier we used to say it's a personal touch. Today now there is a personal plus automated touch in all our discussions, right? Even the scripts that we tend to use to talk to people are sometimes written for us by ChatGPT. So there is automatically an intervention there. And if we believe as individuals working in organizations that we are insulated from the influence of AI, then we're living in a fool's paradise. That cannot happen, right? For one, I do believe that the current set of students who will become professionals or young professionals, they are already of the thought process that they need to adapt and adopt, right? I've also seen a paradigm shift post-COVID in seniors because they realize that if they don't adapt and adopt, then they won't survive. So there is already that thrust and emphasis towards adoption of AI, right? One of the most important challenges that I do foresee here is information asymmetry. Now, what do I mean by information asymmetry? Primarily, the younger lot has been exposed to these concepts more recently. They're more hands-on, right? The senior lot is just about learning something that they had no clue about. And for them to take it up is going to be a slightly bigger challenge. So when the younger lot comes up and starts using AI jargon, automatically the seniors will say, hey, look, slow down, right? I'm used to a more manual approach. I'm used to a more human intervention-based approach. AI is good, but let's try and balance off both, right? So there is going to be a clash of cultures. The new and the old, there is going to be a little bit of a clash. There has to be that little bit of reconciliation. And I do believe that's something that is part and parcel of growth in any organization, right? When any organization wants to move towards professionalism, these are challenges that you've actually got to be able to deal with. The other challenge that I see in organizations usually because of AI is a lot of insecurity. People start feeling, oh my God, today my function is relevant. Tomorrow, will it become redundant because AI will take over what I am good at, right? And to that, I think one of the key things that I've looked at through the years that AI has started growing. I mean, we started with simple ML, right? Machine learning. We looked at the basic algorithms where things were manually repetitive to now where we've gone into deep learning and beyond, where we're actually looking at generative AI and even beyond that. So through the years, what I've seen is people will never really become redundant. They will remain relevant because you need people to drive technology. Technology cannot drive itself, or if it can, it still needs human intervention to keep it in check at a certain pace, right? So it's only a question of people adopting this mindset and saying, hey, look, I am going to be at the forefront of the change and I'm going to look and ride this wave rather than the wave, whitewashing or washing me over. And that's how I think organizations can grow.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, and before we get into the input from Dr. Rupesh, just want to know how many of you heard about TEDx? Oh, wow. How many of you didn't heard about TEDx? Everyone heard about, very nice. Now, how many of you heard any TEDx speaker in front of you? Okay. How many of you want that TEDx speaker should be in front of you? Oh my God, yeah. So we are blessed to have Tejas, who is 3 times TEDx speaker in front of us. And that's an authority and that's a knowledge what we are getting through this discussion, and we are really very much thankful to get this type of knowledge, wisdom, during the forum and the discussions coming to you. Right? So now taking it forward to Dr. Rupesh ji here.
So friend, leveraging technology and embracing the digital transformation may be useful for the industry, but I don't think it would be possible without developing a resilient and adaptable work culture and the working class. So first focus should be on the adaptability of your workforce. You may have the latest technology, you may have transformed your industry on the new fora of the technology, AI, ChatGPT and XYZ, right? But again, I'm coming on that learning culture, and that to be adaptable to your workforce, because system automatically won't work. Still the force of workmen, employee, your team members is essential to get the result and exploit the benefits of the new technology. Then only we would expect the industries transforming in the digital era.
Yeah, and it should start with a top-down approach. As we always say, yatha raja tatha praja. So first of all, that leadership needs to be party to it. Once it is done, then it will go to the next level and to the next level and to the, to the complete grassroots level. So let's understand the pharma side of it, Jagdish ji, from your experience, since you have worked very closely with pharma industry people from 15 years. Now, what is your take कि मतलब क्या अभी भविष्य में जिस तरीके की skills को हम बात कर रहे हैं, हम कितना ready हैं पहले उसके लिए as a healthcare industry, और उसके साथ में किस तरीके के challenges आ सकते हैं?
True. I'll add, Tejas ji, in 2011, we were in campus drive of Wipro. I was in placements also earlier. I served for 7 years in corporates. Wipro campus drive, one of my students cleared first round, second round, third round. Everybody got clear. Then into from Bangalore, got clear. BP took the interview, got clear. At last, BP got reject the candidate. All was surprise. उस कैंपस ड्राइव 4.2 का पैकेज था, बंदे को विजिट कर दिया. बोला क्यों? टिकेगा नहीं. जहाँ हम उसको लेके जा रहे हैं बंदे को कहाँ जाना है बंदे को, कोई और बंदे को पिक कर लेगा. बिलीव मी. एक और एग्जाम्पल तेजस जी का ये, अभी करंट में जो लोग टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ कर रहे हैं, सेम विद लाइक रिक्रूटमेंट, आई टेल यू, हर कैंडिडेट बहुत स्मार्ट हो गया है चैट जीपीटी यूज़ करने के लिए, डीप सीक यूज़ करने के लिए. ही इज़ प्रिपेयरिंग द रिज्यूमे एज व्हाट ही वांट. वही टेक्नोलॉजी मैं भी यूज़ कर रहा हूँ बंदे को जज करने के लिए. आई पुट कि मुझे जेडी चाहिए मेरे को, वही बंदा उसमें ऐड कर रहा है. टेक्नोलॉजी की अपनी वैल्यू है, लेकिन ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन बहुत ज़रूरी है. बिना उसके कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते आप लोग. नाउअडेज आपका रिज्यूमे स्क्रीनिंग करना है तो एआई अवेलेबल है, फर्स्ट राउंड इंटरव्यू एआई अवेलेबल है। जो काम पहले महीनों में होता था, आज वो काम एक दिन में हो जा रहा है। समटाइम्स इवन वी आर यूजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, एक दिन में सारा प्रोसेस पूरा कर लेते हैं। 500 प्रोफाइल से यूजिंग द एआई, यूज द जीआर, and you know that there are many tools screen the resume, find out the suitable candidates, first round interviews, have the telephone conference, AI do by your own, video conferencing AI do by his own। फोर्थ राउंड सिलेक्शन का आएगा कि भाई मेरी चेकलिस्ट है, आप रेडी हैं, इंटरव्यू के लिए आ जाइए आप। हैपन्स सेम डे बंदा क्लियर भी हो रहा है इंटरव्यू के लिए। अब बंदा ही बहुत स्मार्ट हो गया है, उसके पास 3-3, 4-4 ऑप्शंस हैं, कहाँ जाएं कहाँ न जाएं। वेर ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। क्लैरिटी ऑफ द जॉब, जो तेजस जी ने बताया कि चेकलिस्ट नहीं है आपकी, क्लैरिटी नहीं है, डिफिकल्ट टू गो। नाउ एआई इज गोइंग डेवलप, मतलब मेरे पास में 10 से 12 एआई टूल्स हम लोग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, फिर भी ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन बहुत ज़रूरी है। थैंक यू सो मच।
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, please, Tejas.
So just one little bit that I wanted to add, we just spoke, I think, Vivekji mentioned the top-down approach. I just want to caution all HR personnel here, right? Top-down approach definitely works, but please be ready for a wave of bottom-up approach, because today, the candidates that you're going to hire, and please don't get me wrong, they're probably much smarter than you and I. Okay, the generation has changed so drastically, their abilities, their access to technology, their overall skill sets are far beyond what you and I were at that age, and probably far beyond what we've also accrued through our years of work, right? So even though ideally one would expect that all policies, all change should be top down, what I'm observing more and more with organizations is the bottom up wave is coming in and coming in big. So please be open to this change. Please use this change as an opportunity to assimilate newer ideas in your organizations. Make it truly future ready. Otherwise, we can't claim to be future ready if we set policies in vacuum and expect the younger generation to only follow.
No, surely, I think that's really good. Can we have a mic there? Yeah, please, go ahead. Yeah.
So, okay. So I would like to add a point to what Tejas just mentioned. I attended a very good workshop of in Mercer for generative AI, wherein, it was beautifully said that in this digital world or AI world, there is a fear that, AI will take jobs, but that's not the case. First and foremost, where AI has to be deployed has to be studied, right? So for example, if we take an example of HR, recruitment, or employee engagement, or talent development, there are all learning. There are different facets where AI can be deployed. First and foremost, the organization needs to understand that do we really need to deploy an AI? Because for instance, if you're talking about recruitment, if you need to hire only 10 positions or niche positions, you don't need AI.
Exactly.
If you're doing a campus hiring, you need to screen through a lot of resumes, you need it at the screening stage. So first and foremost, when you're talking about future readiness, the organization's goal should be ready. Are they diversifying? Are they growing in the same sector? First and foremost, we need to establish what's the organization objective, and then align the skill set and readiness. I mean, that's where we should first align business, then the skill sets needed, and then how much of AI we need to deploy and where we need to deploy in different facets, be it for our strategy, be it for HR. So first, aligning the purpose is important, and aligning it with the business is important, and that's where it will, hold the key for HR or people being relevant to the business. That's my take.
And absolutely, I mean, this gives you the reason that why you have to look to the positive angle of it, and how you can make it more productive for your day-to-day operations also. And there's a difference between mass and the class. As you rightly mentioned, on the campus side of it, it's a class, it's a mass recruitment. Definitely you can make use of generative AIs of the world and all that. But whenever you just do a niche recruitment, definitely you need not have to have this type of strategies required. I mean, I'll give my example when I was doing a study, and then Google Gemini was launched that time very early stage. What I did is that I combined Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini put together and ChatGPT, three things, and I attempted to do a world record. And God has been kind that I created a world record, and that is completely on the creating of the HR case studies within 60 minutes, and 66 case studies were prepared. Counter to that, I got invited by UAE government, I got invited by, United Nations, representing India, there is a nomination which is happening. All that happens because of that positive angle of AI, which you can look forward. So, when the technology comes to you, that comes with pros and cons, दो धारी तलवार के रूप में आती है. आपके ऊपर होता है कि आप उसको किस तरीके से यूज करेंगे. How can you make maximum use of that particular, technology, what is available to you. So that's how it happens. Yeah, sir, your question, please.
Yes, sir.
We are getting a mic for you.
I won't be questioning, I have some observations. Number one, at this point of time, can we think of getting rid of AI? Maybe you will say that I am mad. But we need to. We need to get rid of AI to some extent. AI can be useful for some repetitive tasks, but where decision making is involved, AI would also be a failure. I had written one article wherein AI was used by the American judges to give the decision in a certain case. So the AI system, they prepared five variants of decisions based on the arguments for the same case. So now the judge has to decide which decision would be the best. So that is where the human intervention or brain's intervention logic that comes. So human brain is far more better than the AI application that has been built upon. And number three, with technological advancement, we all need to cope up with so that our work style also gets improved and we do things better. But we should not be slave to the technology. We should be able to...
It should be participative and collaborative.
We should be able to drive the technology to our advantage.
Exactly. Yeah, very nice.
One more interesting thing I would like to say. How many have used, even the younger generation, to select his or her partner? Nobody is interested to clap. Or should it be used? If
Always.
all are ready.
It's a really a great question of debate.
So, if AI is so advantageous to all of us, if it can take great decisions, then why not select our life partners also? There are so many data available.
Sir,
Sadi.com
I'm just going to interject here. Apparently, there has been a case where an AI proposed to a person and said, I love you and I want to be with you. Right? So rather than AI being used to choose life partners, today we've reached a stage where AI is becoming a life partner.
So through my comments, this was my question. If it is...
No, surely, and
interesting.
we are there, we are here right now, so
thank
we
you,
love
sir.
forward that how we can interact with you.
Yes.
Really,
Thank
thank
you,
you so
sir.
much. And with this, we are closing the discussion. However, we are near, all connected to you, and definitely we look forward. Just in interest of time, because they are actually having the agenda.
Thank you
Yeah,
so very
thank
much.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your hands together for Dr. Vivek Trivedi, Dr. Rupesh Mehta, Mr. Jagdish Teli, and Mr. Tejas Sham, who did a wonderful. Take a picture, please get a good picture. Look in the camera, smile. Yeah, aage aaye. And if the photograph comes out well, send it to your spouse. She may fall in love with you again. Oh, yes. Yeah, so let's give them a round of applause again. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, gentlemen. We now move on to a special citation. The iconic women of inspiration And I would like to invite Ms. Rama Iyer, Director General, WPP India CSR Foundation, to kindly accept this award. Please give her a generous round of applause, Ms. Iyer, as she comes to receive her citation. Welcome, ma'am. Many, many congratulations to you. And Dave Saab is going to hand you over. It is with me, sorry. Please come forward. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. May I request you to say something to the audience, please?
Firstly, thank you so much. I've always said that I think the biggest reward that we get is really in terms of the smile that we see in our children's faces that we work with. Having said that, it does feel good to be appreciated, so thank you for this. I do want to thank my team, Amar and Flossie. Though this is an individual award, they really helped me look good. So thank you, Amar and Flossie. And of course, I do want to thank Talent Value. I think one of the things that we do in CSR particularly is we're normally very shy about sharing our work. So it's forums like this which helps us sort of create a lot more recognition for our work and to get a lot more acceptance and legitimacy for the work that we do. So thank you for this. Thank you again.
Congratulations. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very, very much, Ms. Rama Iyer. We now move on, and we're now going to have a keynote topic, training and coaching enabling continuous learning for career growth. May I invite Dr. Ajay Bakshi, Managing Director, Metamorphosis to Unlimited, to kindly come and address us. Thank you.
So very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a very interesting topic which I've been given, and we talk about training and coaching, and I've been doing this for the past, in an official capacity, I've been doing this for the last 4 decades, so close to 40 years here. Now in that 40 plus years, I'll give a bit of a background about my career, because it is in a way related to this topic. So on the education side, I'm a mechanical engineer. I've done my master's in business administration and my PhD in human resources and change management. So my education has been very, very diverse. I started my career from a company in campus in the manufacturing space. This was an engineering company, and very soon I realized, after working on the shop floor, that I want to spend the rest of my life working with people rather than working with machines. And I didn't enjoy working with machines. I liked solving some problems, but after 6 to 8 months, I felt this is not what my calling is, and this is not where I would like to be. So I decided to shift my career path, and I took up my master's in business administration and sales. Again, from campus, I got a job in sales. And in sales, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And in fact, a part of my job today is also selling, because I now run my consulting practice. So anyone in the consulting business also sells their solutions and their product offerings. So took up a sales job in this company called Castrol, thoroughly enjoyed it. And interestingly, during the time when I was working with Castrol, I had the divisional manager of a company called Gillette. They visited the area which I was in. I was in Aurangabad at that time. And he said, I want to meet up with you. I have heard about you and I want to meet up with you. Let's have a meal together. I realized there are no free lunches, so there must be some agenda to it. So what is the agenda? I don't know till I don't go out and meet him. Went out, met him. And interestingly, he had a job offer. He wanted somebody to take care of their regional HR regional human resources for Gillette, but he wanted somebody with a sales background. I told him, see, I'm a sales guy. I'm used to my targets. I'm used to achieving targets and getting my incentives and bonuses. So the efforts and the results which I put in, I get to see those tangible results on the ground. I am not sure if I'll be able to, of course, even as an HR professional, I'll be putting in effort, but when will I get to see those results? And are they tangible enough? So I had those apprehensions and concerns. He spent a lot of time, he gave me a lot of, and I'm not getting into details of that. I joined him with the assurance that if I don't like the job in HR, I'll get the opportunity to shift back to sales. So with that assurance, I joined the organization. Said, that's fine, it's a promotion, one step up. That was an attraction for me, and the guarantee that I can get back to sales if I don't like the job. Interestingly, a year and a half down the line, there was an opportunity to get back to sales, but I started liking the function. And what I liked about the function at that point of time is the ability to transform people's careers. So it depends. You can take up the role, and the role can be a good, effective administrative function, or it can be a transformation function. And I realized the power of that in the early stages of my career. This is where I also realized the impact of training and development. So Gillette had groomed me in a very systematic way. A person who's not a qualified HR professional, how do you transition into HR, and that too into a transformation HR role? So I went through a series of certification programs, processes, and I got the opportunity to apply those learnings on the job. Only certifications have very little impact. Today, I am certified on 11 psychometric instruments. I am also a professional certified coach from the International Coach Federation. I have 3 other coaching accreditations, but only certifications without being able to apply it on the job does not translate into skills. So they have to blend together. So coming back to that, I realized the power of training and coaching. And Gillette had this very interesting model, which I'll share with you in the form of a very short case study. But it taught me a couple of things about training and coaching. So first and foremost, I thought training and coaching are the same thing. How many of us do believe that training and coaching are the same thing? Okay, just a quick, a quick question for everybody. What's the difference between training and coaching? Yes, please. I think if you can have a mic there.
Training has got a agenda, as in it's a structured program wherein you know that these are the topics that the person has to undergo, and it's a structured curriculum is there. When it comes to coaching, the person has to decide what I want to, and the coach is the person who helps him go through that by asking the questions. He or she knows the answer themselves. The coach facilitates that what they want to achieve. So that helps them, it's self-driven. Whereas in a training, like we want certain thing to be achieved, so we tell them, go through this module or whatever is required.
Okay, just one more, and then I'll substantiate.
Fairly new entrant into the training arena. Yeah. I understood that training is you are teaching something which is absolutely conducive or absolutely a new concept for the trainees. So it may be a new concept, it may be an old concept. You are upskilling them, you are reskilling them. So that is the part where training comes. But when you talk about coaching, so normally coaching is done where the student, it is done for student who are already knows about the theoretical aspect, and they are detailed more into that aspect so that they can pass a particular exam systems. But in training, it is like you are upskilling and reskilling the existent candidates with new concepts, new ideas. And I think that is the difference, basic difference between training and coaching. बहुत simple words में कोचिंग आप 10th
Yeah.
12th के कोचिंग करते हैं ट्रेनिंग नॉर्मली कॉर्पोरेट्स दे गो फॉर ट्रेनिंग प्रोसेसेस और बी स्कूल्स दे गो फॉर ट्रेनिंग प्रोसेसेस बी स्कूल्स डोंट गिव कोचिंग्स कॉर्पोरेट्स डोंट गिव कोचिंग
And in fact, yes, B schools largely focus on training. Let me just simplify this concept, because since the topic is training and coaching, I thought let me substantiate the difference between these two. They both serve, there is a commonality to it also, they both serve the same purpose. The purpose is developing people. Developing people to perform their particular job and to do it well. And to do it well, not only the current job, but also for future level jobs. So if you look at it, what training does, training addresses a group of people. And training typically, what it addresses in people is, it addresses the knowledge transfer. It tells people what to do and how to do it. So training largely focuses on addressing a large group of people and transferring knowledge. But that knowledge has to be applied on the job. Till you don't come on the job and you don't apply it, it will not translate into skills and your capabilities will not get built. So this is where coaching comes in. It helps people apply the concepts which you have learnt in training and develop skills on the job. Both of them are correlated. You can't have skills without knowledge. If you don't know what to do, what will you apply on the job? You won't be able to build your skills. And yes, coaching also helps develop certain capabilities, and coaching can help, and I'm not saying it always will help, but it can help develop the right set of attitudes in people. It doesn't always transform. You know, there's a saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. If a horse is not interested in going to the water, it won't drink. So anyway, coming back to my own story, so having spent about 26 years in the corporate, where I'd done a variety of roles, including 3 corporates where I've been a CHRO. I've also been a board director in Vodafone. I've been the CHRO of Vodafone, Prudential, Sterlite Technologies and Sterlite Power. And I've also been on the board of Vodafone. That is before the Vodafone Idea separation happened or the merger happened. I currently am an executive coach where I largely work with coaching CEOs and CXOs who are either wanting to transform their organizations or their careers. And I'll elaborate a little more on that. Transforming organizations, yes, there is a problem statement, which means they need to either increase their productivity, they need to increase their profitability, they need to restructure their organization, they want to change the culture of the organization. So that is where I come in as an executive coach. And also I've personally led about 8 mergers and acquisitions of different ticket sizes in the past. So I also advise them on due diligences for a merger and acquisition. So that's on the business side. But when it comes down to careers, I do a lot of work in coaching where I work with the C-suite leaders individually, understanding what is it that they need to do to get to the next level. So for a CXO or CXO -1 to get to a CXO level, what are the difference in skills which they need to imbibe, they need to absorb, and they need to develop? And a CXO who's moving in to a CEO, what are the additional skill sets they need to absorb and imbibe? It's less about technical, it's less about functional. You know, when you reach a particular level, you already have those technical and functional skills. But when you are operating at a CXO minus level, you are implementing change. But when you move in at a CXO level, you are designing change. And when you operate at a CEO level, you are initiating change. So these require different skill sets, and getting people to operate in these different skill sets, I get the opportunity to work with them. That is another differentiator about coaching. In training, you can have a curriculum. You cannot customize curriculum to suit each and every individual's needs. You will see, by and large, what are the group needs, and you'll try to have a curriculum which appeals to most of the members of the group. But in coaching, one glove does not fit all sizes. You have to customize it. Because every person is at a different level of experience, every person has a different level of motivation, every person has a different skill set. So when you customize that approach, that is where you start getting outcomes. And what I've personally believed is, when you're able to blend training and coaching together, you will get outcomes. Coaching is more easy to measure. But training also you will get outcomes if you are able to complement it with group coaching or group mentoring. Of course, coaching is expensive, especially when you're hiring an executive coach. But if you can develop a series of mentors internally, and I'll talk about a program which I had introduced in Prudential very briefly, which gave us great results. So training and coaching, these are two different methodologies. Training caters to a group of people and largely focused on knowledge transfer. Coaching is highly customized and it helps build skills in people. Training and coaching, the origins are definitely not from the corporate. Training, the origins are from the military and sports. And the direct impact is on performance. If you are not well trained in the army, you cannot be put on a performance improvement plan. You unfortunately lose your life. And likewise in sports, if you are not well trained and you don't go out there, you will lose a match. Plain and simple. Of course, there are other things also which go in sports. It's not only your training, but it's how do you perform on that day? What is your mindset? And of course, circumstances. How well is your opponent playing that day? So all these factors are important ingredients to determining success in training. So the concept comes from the army. Coaching comes from sports. And interestingly, if you see some of the top coaches in the world, a lot of them have a sports background and they have no formal qualification in coaching. They've all been sports coaches and they've learned to deal with people and they've learned to deal with situations and they've learned to customize it. And even sports coaches, there are very few sports coaches who go through. There are some accreditations which are available for sports coaches. But if you see Sachin Tendulkar's coach, I don't think he's gone through any formal training program or formal certification to be his coach, and look at what he's produced. So, likewise, keeping this in mind, I think the origins come from different backgrounds, that's sports and the army. What really works? Where does this marriage happen between training, coaching, and development and performance? This happens through a model which is called as the 70-20-10 model. I think those who are HR professionals, a few of you would have either leveraged it, heard of it, or read about it. So for those, I can see some nods here. Ma'am, would you like to share? Have you leveraged the 70-20-10 model, and what is your understanding of that? Yeah, can we have a mic here, please?
Thank you. So we leverage the 70-20-10 model, and exactly as you said, there has to be a marriage between training, coaching and mentoring. So we had used Shiv Khera for our one of the organizations where we worked, and it worked really wonders with this model of 70-20-10, and custom projects were given based on once the coaching is done, once the learning is done, the mentoring is done. So it was custom that what does the C-suite people need, what does the middle management need, and what does the junior management need. So we were doing a succession planning, and it was a part of our succession planning exercise.
Okay. So you leveraged the 70-20-10 model to develop successors in your organization. What the 70-20-10 model talks, and this is applicable to everybody, it's not only organizations but also individuals. It talks about 70% of our learning comes on the job. That is through challenging assignments, difficult assignments, stretched assignments, and I think in the panel discussion someone had also mentioned failures. So 70% of our learnings come through that, on the job. 20% of our learnings come through coaching and mentoring, formal or informal. Invariably, all of us, we may not have formal coaches assigned, but how many of us have a mentor? Can I just have a raise? I think virtually everybody has a mentor. a friend, philosopher, and a guide. The person could be your parent, somebody who's your go-to person when we get stuck, when we want to leverage somebody as a sounding board, somebody to advise us, guide us, show us the path. So formally or informally, we do have, or at least most of us have, mentors associated. So 20% of our learning comes through coaching or mentoring, and 10% happens through organized learning. That organized learning is training, reading, self-reading, e-learning courses, certification, and our education. So now the key part here is, if only 10% of our learning comes through formal education, training and learning, is it important enough? Or should we be spending 70% of our time on just learning on the job? So just a very quick question and a quick view. Does anyone have a point of view and a perspective? One person, please. Yeah, can we have the mic, please? Somebody here. Yeah.
So basically, I think that you said the model 70-20-10, the 70% which we learn afterwards, the 10 and 20% make the base for that thing.
Excellent.
Then you learn the whole 70%.
Excellent. Very well done. So while the percentages may vary, but if you don't get your 10% right, it's like pushing a person to the swimming pool and tell them, you have to learn on the job. You either sink or swim. But if you have somebody telling them what do they need to do, and then you have a coach supporting them, the chances of them succeeding and swimming are much higher than just pushing them into the water and expecting them to sink or swim. Yes, sir. Can we have the mic here, please?
Yes, sir, this 10% makes the refinement. That builds up the attitude, right? Attitude to excel. Absolutely. Unless that is there, it won't happen. But I would prefer that first intention to learn, means that should be, mindset should be given 100% fast, then this 70-20-10 formula should be applied.
I would agree with you. Mindset is extremely important.
Yes.
You can, like I said earlier, you can take a horse to the water, you can't make it drink.
Yes.
So you may give them the best of training programs, and one of the reasons why organizations also fail with the best intention and with the best investment is because people don't want to learn. You know, you have to force. A danger signal is when you have to follow up with people to attend training programs. It happens in many organizations. I've had to do that in the past as well. Of course, I've handled it in a different way as a CHRO. And dropout cases, I've handled it in a very, very different way. If they were dropouts, if they had given that nomination and they had dropped out, unless, of course, there was, somebody falling ill or somebody in the family falling ill, or there was a exceptional business contingency. These were exceptions accorded, but not otherwise.
Sir, can I ask you a small question?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have a small question for you. How have you handled the cases which are not dropouts? They attend the training, but then the attention span is not there.
Yeah, see, attention span again, I would check is, have I nominated the people correctly? The training program, if I'm organizing a program on managerial skills and they are individual contributors, they will not be able to relate to the content. So the content has to be relevant to their needs. So I check that first. Then I see, is the content engaging enough? If you have one person talking all the time, however good a speaker they are, after 5-7 minutes, all of us tend to switch off. So try, is the program interactive enough or not? And third, is the program simplified to the needs of the audience? You can use all the jargons in the world, but if they are not relevant to the audience, it's not going to work. So of course, I have a prompter here that I'm running, a little on my time. I'll just give me 2 more minutes. I'll wrap up. So a few things which I would like to, unfortunately, I don't have time right now for question and answers, but I'm staying back for lunch. So if anybody would like to interact with me, more than happy to be answering that. A few tips on how do you get the best out of training and coaching in your organization is, 1, relevant training programs for the relevant audience. Get your audience mix right. in the first place. This is one of the major reasons I've seen with the best intention and the best efforts, training doesn't work. Second, don't leave it only at the 10% or 20%. Follow it through. Third, make your training program relevant and contemporary. If they cannot apply what you have said in the first 90 days, 95% of human beings will forget it. Only those 5% of exceptionally motivated people will find ways of applying it. Give them training program at the right time as well. And they should be able to apply it in the 90 days. Keep doing refresher programs. I know refresher programs do have a cost attached to it, but it would be good to do refresher programs because human beings don't remember. Take our cases. I've gone through at least 30 e-learning programs as some of the organizations I'm associated with, but I remember only 10% of the content. So the more the refreshers happen, the more likelihood of me remembering the content is going to be much higher. The other part here is stay relevant and stay focused. I think one of you had mentioned that training has to be relevant. It has to address a business need and a business solution rather than being seen as a flavor of the day. If design thinking, artificial intelligence are not really solving a problem in your organization, don't invest in it right now. Invest in it when the time is right. So these are a few tips which I thought I'll share. I'd love to interact with you more over the lunch break if anybody would like to know a lot more about. I'm also available on LinkedIn as Dr. Ajay Bakshi, and feel free to connect with me there as well. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to Dr. Ajay Bakshi. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. And whoever wants to get more information from Dr. Bakshi, may I request you to take it offline. He's available, like he said. Moving on, we're now going to have a very powerful panel discussion. And the topic is women in leadership. Was that ever a doubt that women are leaders? You know, women in leadership, breaking barriers, and building future skills. I would like to first invite our moderator, the young Mr. Vipul Dave, co-founder and CEO, Talent Value Media, as he walks and takes the ramp. Give him a big round of applause. Walking like a model, sir. Thank you, Vipul Bhai. Great to have you here. Let me warn you that in 30 minutes, I'm going to put the mics off. Welcome, sir. Thank you. To join Mr. Dave, may invite Head Operations, NICE Neotech Medical System Private Limited, Ms. Colleen Wilson, please. Warm welcome, ma'am. Thank you. To join them, may invite Senior Vice President Marketing, KLA Preschools and Daycare, Ms. Shireen Sultana. You can clap whenever you're free. Thank you. Welcome, ma'am. To join them, Head HR and Corporate Services, SNF India, Ms. Anita Sahu. May I invite you on stage. A warm welcome, ma'am. And finally, to join all of them, Head HR Products, Neil Soft, Miss V. Padma Priya. May I invite you on stage. Thank you, sir. Dave Saab, take it away. Thank you. Mics, yes, mics. I got one here.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, and wonderful to have such a powerful group of ladies and from such a diversified group. Can we have one round of applause for the ladies over here? Thank you so much. Sitting here, believe me, this is one group I would dread to be here. The power and the energy which is going to be coming over next 30. Ronnie, I'll try to wrap up by 30 minutes, but we don't, see the control over women leadership is that at one point of time you only surrender. So I will try to do justice to you. So that's the challenge that I have, but a very powerful group of my esteemed leaders that I have. And we have, what we have done is such diversified group. One comes from a medical domain, so Sherin comes from a medical domain. We have, Sherin comes from a school and background perspective. Caroline comes from a medical device company. Anita comes from an SN of completely manufacturing to, yeah. So that thing, and Padma again also comes from a very diversified portfolio. Engineering background. So these are complete different domains what we wanted to see, and we thought that as a leadership, is it important to really reflect upon future skills what are getting imbibed across industry. Now, I want to open the conversation, and to me, it is very important that we, like, all of us believe that leadership comes right from the, mother in the when we look at it, our nature and family environment. It comes from the family. Your mother is the first source of your leadership background, right? Now, I want to throw this point and open this discussion. Is there any barrier in leadership for women, right? So and I would want my esteemed panel to give a perspective of their own domains. The theme that we wanted to evolve is diversified backgrounds. The audience should get a perspective of diversified industries, how this is reflection in diversified groups that you are operating. Now, is there any barrier? We wrote there are barriers to it, but I would want to challenge that and open the discussions around that. So over to you.
Yeah, if you're okay, I'll take this. So I've been working for over 20 years now, and 22 to be counting. And my first job was in sales at this company called Madura Coats. I don't know how many of you know of Coats Thread or Mito Thread, right? So I started in sales. There was this sales ASM's group. 40 sales managers, I was the only woman. Right from then, today, to an industry. And I've worked through telecom, FMCG, ISB in education, and today at a preschool brand. To 85% of our workforce of 3,500 people is women. But, and here comes the broken pipeline that everybody talks about. From that number to our leadership and extended leadership group of about 15 people, which has 5 women, 30%, to our core leadership, which has 5 people and 2 of us are women. Right? And this is a situation of an industry which is 80% predominantly women. So yes, the short answer to your question is there are barriers as we are growing from one level to another. What are those barriers? Why is this pipeline so badly broken? And what possibly can be done is what I think I would love to learn from everyone here.
Thank you, Charlene. So, good afternoon all. I am Anita Sahu. I take care of HR and Corporate Services Department with SNF India Private Limited. I am with 2.5 decades of experience, particularly in HR. In this company, I am from last 18 years and joined as a supervisor and today taking care of 4 departments clubbed into HR and Corporate Services Department. Till 2020, when I was not heading the department, me and my colleague, only 2 women with 270 men working in the manufacturing industry. But when I took over the department, now we are around 35 women working in the manufacturing industry. And believe me, initial days, finding of women in this manufacturing industry itself was a big challenge. Now I'm sitting in the largest city of India, which is Mumbai, and we are with many of the women. I'm sitting here. This is not the case in my place, which is Visakhapatnam. So leadership is far, far away for women. Getting a job for women or finding a chemical engineer for that industry itself a challenge. If I'm getting a chemical engineer as a woman, they're afraid to come to the industry and work. These all challenges are very big and leadership is a very bigger topic. However, coming to my topic, in this, which is a 4.5 billion euros company, And in India, we have one branch, and I'm very proud to say that this management is such a way where I am, yes, I am is one of the management team, and I have given all the rights to take decision on people topic. There are few barriers, but this is what challenge is, right? Not only women, men also are facing many barriers, and how we are dealing with it is depend on us.
Over to you, Padma. Yeah, Padma.
Thanks. It's a very beautiful question. Women in leadership and what are the barriers? We have coming through all the barriers. Like I would put across, I think the human brain was designed in such a way that one was a caregiver and another was going hunter type. But then we realized that women can also come into various facets of, in the life other than being caretaker of home or, being a nurturer at home. So that's where the concept of women coming in corporate came. And when you spoke about women in manufacturing, I think Sudhamurthy ji is a classic example who broke the ceiling and very persistent that I want to be in a manufacturing thing. Tata ji also gave her the scope. So we require mentors, like how Ajay Bakshi ji told. For us to succeed, we need mentors who can identify the talent, give the exposure, and then we can do. There's no glass ceiling that cannot be broken. And with that, coming from an organization which is into engineering services, especially in mechanical, a lot of people from educational institutes are there, where women are either mostly in IT, CS, or civil, but in mechanical we hardly find. In fact, during recruitment, our associates say that, ma'am, ladkiyon ko to thoda recruit karo, but there is no market for that. But slowly, I think people are coming into that, and in all the field, women are there. This is about corporate, this is about educational, and also, I guess, in politics. If you talk about it, our own finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman ji, she's been there for almost 3 consecutive terms, and she's a finance maestro, due to which I think a lot of board decisions where I think one of the SEBI ruled out is because of the acumen which women have in finance. So the independent director, women independent director being mandatory made for certain companies is because of these reasons, wherein we come with a lot of empathy, we come with more non-biased. And of course, biasness is always there, but we are more open to having a good thought process in dealing with things. So whether in politics or in games, our people are there in everywhere. And we are breaking and coming into the leadership from the down level. But with family caveats, a lot of women have to take a back seat, but then the men support, due to which we reach to whatever we are. Over to you.
Yes, I think I also have to, say similar points. But I personally feel the barrier that starts that we face is basically out of the social stigma. As how my co-speaker Padma told, human brain is wired in such a way that predominantly there is characterizations which happen with men and women. When you say women and what are the responsibilities, the work, being in corporate comes maybe in the last down the line, but for men it becomes the first. So it's more like a default thing which happens, and men are blessed with it. So women to come around and be in the race itself has been difficult through the years, and that's what has been happening through the past few decades, and that's why we can see almost 35 to 65% women in this room itself. Else it is not going to be that case. So it's more of breaking barriers, and I think the way forward we have to speak about building bridges. And the word barrier itself is so much hard to face. That's how it is. So I propose it that way.
Would you mind if I add?
Sure.
So I want to address the elephant in the room, right? A lot of us, if you look around the room, you will see either very young women or a lot of men. You will see very few women from here to there. All of us are here for the panel, but otherwise, who have managed to take time off work and home and come to a networking / knowledge sharing event like this. Why is that happening? Because primary responsibility of home, children, like you said, the mother is the leader at home, de facto leader, right? And what happens is, as you want to grow up and go up the corporate ladder, grow in your career, being present at different forums such as this one, being present at work, whether it is official networking, after hours networking, becomes so important for women, and that's why they start to miss out. Because if the child has exams, and I'll give you a case in point, I work at Clay, which was built for this perspective, which is to help working women show up at work, stay at work while the children are taken care of, right? Now what happens is that of late we have a lot of colleagues of mine who have come up and said, I'm applying for work from home. And we were like, why are we hearing so many work from home requests around this time? Exam time. And whose responsibility is it to teach the child at home while the exams are going on? Mother and myself included. It's never, so while I might be leading at home and I want to lead at work, I have to make a choice. And inevitably that choice falls onto the mother. Therefore, the barrier, this is a barrier, and that's a barrier which systemically needs to get addressed, and for which the government, corporate leaders like ourselves and everybody in this room need to come together to say, how are we going to make it easier for women to deliver both at work and at home?
Maybe we should have a topic called as responsibility sharing. However, this knowledge sharing is happening, a buzzword. Responsibility sharing should be on the table.
Appreciate that part, Kiran, on that. But very interesting part, when we are talking about, there is a buzzword. Now, any forum that you go, diversity and inclusion, right? Everybody is talking about diversity and inclusion. Way back, I was leading a multinational company, Indian multinational company, and so the boardroom resolution comes, we need to increase the diversity in our employee group and all. Suddenly you have to increase. Respect the board mandate. You have to do, you want to do, as an organization, you want to be progressive, you want to give equal employer opportunity. So I went back to the board and asked, what is the perspective that you're building? Some of our plant, forget about diversity, they did not employ even a gardener in our plant as a female. We are talking about, you want to increase the diversity. Your factories, your office environment are not designed to have a infrastructure which is for a diversity. You are talking about women as a thing. I said, are you ready to change the layout of the factories? Are you ready to change the, there has to be, when you typically go on a factory, there is an assembly line or there is a particular, manufacturing line. There is a urinal which is there, but a urinal for a female you have to construct, it will have to be a mile away, at the gate, at the reception or anything. Now, what do you expect? First kind of infrastructure changes have to happen. So these are small issues we are talking about. We are talking about women leadership. As an organization, are we investing in this first infrastructure? Now I want to touch upon this aspect. All of you come from one diversified geographies also. Like, you mentioned, Anita, that about in Vizag, I have been in one of the Odisha's steel plant area where it's remote. You can't forget about, in the COVID times, that's the only place I didn't see mask, and people who were wearing masks were considered as aliens. Now, if such is the infrastructure that we are operating, engineering department, when we tried to do, and similarly when we went for a campus hiring for only female batches, there are latent challenges which are coming in. And believe me, one female we hired, she challenged us from a perspective that I want to be in an engineering department. And I said, well, appreciate that you are a fresh college engineering. Sir, but I want to take a challenge. I can turn around the tractor tire. I said, wow. Now these are the kind of things. Whether there is an inspiration, at 500 rupees, change of 500 rupees, people are changing jobs. Fleet on street, you mentioned about you worked in telecom, and people are changing job. They will break off the SIM. They'll break off the SIM, and I don't want to be on a fleet on street where Kalyan Jewelers is offering not that I'm marketing Kalyan Jewelers, is offering, and neither they have given me anything on. So Kalyan Jeweler is offering an AC environment of working. Why should I go and operate in the fleet? Now coming back, I want to ask from a perspective as an environment, what are the fostering things that you look at in your own organizations? As a culture, as an environment, how do you look at environment as an impeding factor for leadership growing? People leave because they feel insecure. They feel a female would not want to be in a engineering role. They don't want to be in the plant. They would want to take an office or a purchase role. So what do you see as a challenge in terms of it? So over to this again, entire group, because we want to have a diversified views of it. And then later on we'll ask want to know your specific views on it. So Padma, you want to answer that?
Very good question. One thing is there, like as far as safety is concerned, I think the government did a good thing on POSH, and it's become mandatory for everyone to have the POSH awareness so that such kind of harassment or some ill treatment doesn't happen. And all organizations follow that. We have to also put in a POSH, at the end of the March, we have to submit the POSH report. So as far as that is concerned, in IT and ITES, I think it is happening, it's a little safer section. In manufacturing, I see a little different in trend now. In fact, a lot of places, women employees are getting preferred. Because, in fact, today morning, I was talking to someone, I don't remember, they say that women, when they come to work, they're very focused because after work, they have to go home and cook. So that's why they want to finish the task and go. Whereas in men work, I'm talking of blue collar, whereas the men workers, I'm not categorizing anybody, but in general, they don't have much of domestic responsibilities. So they tend to take a long time, though the shift timing is that much, and that's how it is. So companies are preferring. And only one drawback which I have seen with respect to women hiring is because of the maternity leave getting increased from 3 to 6 months. So it takes a lot of push for us to tell the manager, it's okay to hire them and it's okay to give that leave. But they say 6 mahina tak then mera nuksan ho jayega. So that is the only challenge that is there. But if a trained employee leaves at the job and then we say, "Obi to nuksan hai, tumhara training goes waste."
Well, that's a very valid subject that, maternity, government is providing social security perspective. But then at the same time, organizations are fearing that as abolishing the positions, various
Correct.
other things, there are workarounds which are happening. So as a manager, as a leader, how are you playing role to influence us? So this is exactly the question which I was saying, as a culture impeding part. Do you put down a foot as a leader, HR leader in your own organizations and put across, no, we cannot backfill these positions or will allow the lady to come back or so. So this is, you want to address that?
See, here as an HR, we have to also think of business perspective, because what is it that is affecting? So it cannot be made only that this position has to be filled by a women employee only. At the end, I don't want the business to suffer. It's a thing which is open to all. We don't much believe in that, especially for women or anything. But we want to give that space when they come from the maternity break. Again, we allow them work from home. Thanks to COVID, lot of work from home things has been coming. So the way the employment also works is little different. And also thanks to COVID, a lot of women are doing the work-life balance by working from home, though they try to be an octopus managing, with all 8 hands, either some ailing parent or in-laws or the school studies or the workforce or the cooking, whatever is possible, juggling. And the organization should be mindful of it and give them the space that is required so that overall growth happens. And women do contribute to the society, to the economy, and to their own household.
What to you, Anita? Yeah?
I have a very different experience because I cannot take a chance of work from home or flexible timings because I'm in a manufacturing industry. I cannot take that chance. But yes, while initial days when I brought women in the industry, and believe me, all my male colleagues, they have told, "Madam, please, रहने दो ना. किसी को ले लेते हैं, ABC में काम करेगा." So in place of women, let's bring male. वहाँ पे चढ़ना होता है, शायद नहीं कर पाएगी. And Padma, none of my girls now, they don't know how to cook. They don't know, okay? And I'm sure they are not going to cook also further. So when I brought all these women, after 1.5 years, believe me, they are in every department. They are in production, they are in technical department, they are in R&D, they are in procurement, they are in IT, they are in sales. Everywhere I have my
One round of
women
applause
power.
for the leadership making that conscious, effort.
And all these girls made me so proud. Now every department you go and ask, I'm sure without me having there, they will tell, we need women, please. Because this 8 hours of job, for sure 6 hours they do their job. They come, they complete their job. Yes, in between chai mein charcha और ये gossips ये सब common है. फिर भी जो 6 घंटे का time दिया गया है उनको, they justifying it and doing it. So I have a very different scenario when I'm maybe fortunate enough to working with that kind of a organization where women are, because you were talking about some infrastructure and not bringing the women, whatever you were giving the example, maybe that company's women HR were not there. If a CHRO is a women, for sure these all infrastructure and women colleagues will be there.
We brought about a change, and it started with my own department. First said, I will change, and there were open positions. We brought only females in our department. So this is the kind of, we went back to the board and said, first we'll do that. And small things. When we are bringing in a complete environment of infrastructure where you are introducing diversity, believe me, I had to put a security that last female who is getting down in the night shift, after the B shift, please give a report that's all safe and they have reached their home. So, that kind of detailing was required. That kind of female toilets, apart from female toilets, there has to be a hygiene matter which has to be put, sanitary pads have to be put in the thing. That's, one is not only when we are talking about we as a leader, you are inducting fresh thing. There are females who are coming as a management trainee or as a GTs we are coming. Now, are your senior leadership wanting to mentor them? So I would want, you want to highlight how has been your experience in terms of driving? You have also traveled different industries.
Oh, yes. So, like I said, right, from a start, when I was a management trainee, I was posted in places where if I had to leave at 6 a.m. to take a bus to North Karnataka, I would come back at 10 p.m. and there was no toilet in the entire day that I could use, okay, because these were villages. They had no clue what it was like. From there to today, and I'm super proud to be part of an industry which is in the middle of this change, where organizations, thanks to a lot of compliance and regulatory issues, are making daycare facilities available for working women, right, with breastfeeding support and breastfeeding rooms, etc. So there's a lot of regulation that has enhanced the speed of change, the rate of change. So for working mothers as a segment, I think there's definitely a lot of improvement. There's still scope. There is always going to be scope. Many organizations have now introduced a paternity leave, which therefore supports the mother. And, parenting is a two-people job, right? It is not just the mother's responsibility. So it is like I said last week in some podcast, that, it's not that men choose to be lazy fathers. They just know they have no option but to internalize that I have to prioritize work because I'm going to have to put food on the table. It's honestly that. It's not that most men say, mujhe fark nahi padta hai how my child grows up, right? And I think a lot of that is changing. I'm lucky to be in an industry, again, where I'm seeing 25 to 35, 40-year-olds where both parents are equally engaged and responsible in parenting. So a lot of infrastructural changes are coming thanks to regulation and policy. Second, mindset change in the men is happening at a faster pace than it probably ever has. And the third part, which I would like more work to be done, and we're also trying to initiate it, is it's not just important to liberate your women, it's important to educate your boys to know what that looks like. Right? Today, the women have probably changed at a rate that the guys are unable to keep up with. So it's important to do that to our own future generations, and I think that's where the maximum amount of work is left now.
Yeah. What are you getting?
So I owe to the similar points where progressive men in the society around us, in the family, in the workspace, everybody are one of the biggest boons. How much ever regulatory changes might come, the compliance changes might come, but the mindset of people around us who are our typical colleagues who we meet day in and day out, or the parents that we have, like the father at the house, or the husband that we have, or the father-in-law, or whoever, every man in our life matters, and they make a typical change. And thanks to every man who has made a space for a women or multiple women to grow in their life.
I just wanted to add into this when you spoke about the mindset, which is a very important thing. We are all speaking about corporate, but that specific movie which came in OTT, Mrs. or something, just Mrs. I think, a lot of women could relate to that. Even at this age, like when we say that people are working, but there where what is expected. And due to this, what happens by default, though the husband might be very well educated, but it is the family values and beliefs that helps us women to come up the ladder and prove ourselves to ourselves that we are capable. We have to sometimes put our foot down, then only we can come up. Like, it's not that people don't have, everyone has their caliber. Just internalize it and recognize, and the family support is very important. Rightly said, all the men, whether it is men and the women, even the mother-in-law, like if in that it is there, if there is an acceptance to it. So it brings overall change.
Thank you so much, Padma. Want to ask some? Oh, sorry. We'll come back to the Q&A part of it. Now, I want to now, again, coming back to the topic of leadership and leadership as a skill, I would want two questions to be asked. So very interesting. You as a leader, when you talk of yourself as a, women as a leader, what kind of experiences that you would want to share, you as a boss, and how people, accept you, they come back to you, or they approach towards you. Do you feel that you have a clean, fair exit in the various decision making which you, or you are being specifically targeted in terms of particular projects or activities that you are targeted that, okay, let's challenge Padma, let's challenge. So this question is to Padma and Kiran, you would want to answer. Yeah, you as a leader, so you conveniently, I asked you, right?
See, when it comes to as a manager, each leadership has got different qualities which they want to follow. It depends on the situation. Certain times you require to be transactional, where certain things has to be followed. It has to be followed. Certain times it requires that you give them the space to give them their views, and they allow them to do the way it is.
Sorry to no. I want to be very specific about you as a leader, women as a boss, right? When you are a boss, and do you see the kind of environment? One, you provide an comfort to your male subordinates, and you as a boss are also reporting into a male. So what is the leadership challenge that you face in terms of working at that level?
So I got the question wrong. So very good question, and it's very pertaining to me. When I see in NeilSoft, I had all my subordinates who were male, because we work in an engineering organization, a lot of male members are there. We wanted them to, when you say as a BPHR role, we wanted them to engage, and they are more open to talk, go down for chai and have that sutta break and all those things. So they respected. I gave them the space. It was a mutual thing. I never had any issues. It was never male-female thing. It was as a team. I was reporting into a male. He also gave me the space. So I didn't have any issues. But in other department, when it comes to technical, so sometimes when a new leadership comes, acceptance of the new female, when it's ingrown, when they have seen that, it is more easy. When it's outsider, female comes, the acceptance, it takes a longer time. So, but with the male, the acceptance becomes a little more easier, is what my observation was. So that time.
How do you, as a leader, I mean, that's the precisely, how do you, as a leader, as a boss, what skills you would recommend that being assertive, being mindfulness you would apply, or what is it that would be your approach to kind of surviving or keeping that role intact?
It requires more than technical, it's interpersonal. Once you climb up the ladder, so it is first is hone on your listening skills and don't impose and give them the space, because moment any new manager comes, oh this ये ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था, ये organization में ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है type. Whatever you have to be a part of it. So first acceptance of the new person to be a part of the organization and not cribbing ये वो नहीं होगा, तो then the team accepts you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Kiran, on very specifically, because in medical devices organization, I generally presume that the number of ratio of female leadership will be higher compared to the engineering organization. So, what do you think as a leader in a female, as a woman you're driving? What are your expectations and leadership skills that you would want to impress upon?
Yes, I just want to touch down upon two main points. One, I wish the progressive future should be genderless. We've enough spoken about, men giving space, women getting a, seat in the table and all of that. So going forward, it should be genderless. I wish next year we shouldn't have a panel called Women in Leadership. It should be, us together, because this is an exclusive women panel. We feel we are still not given that space. That's why we are trying to probe more and more women. There are places when men has to do certain things. As you told, certain works, generically, that's how the physical work, that obviously goes. Of course, the ratio is less. How many women bodybuilders are there? Yes, they do exist, but you can't expect every, women to do, or the majority to come high overnight. So certain things is how the nature has proposed naturally. But of course, we really do not want us to be oppressed. That's the only point that we were talking about for all the decades. And I wish the oppression ratio has come down really less. And that is the reason why we are all, sitting here from diverse backgrounds and diverse age, of course, from various decades of our birth. So that's one thing. Second, as he asked the previous question I want to address, certain times decision taking, decision making, the policy making, everything comes up, and that's more like the two sides of the same coin. There are times when, men propose something, ideologically it gets rejects also, and which the idea might not be right. And similarly, when a woman does, there's always a point, maybe because I'm a woman, that's been rejected. That stigma of doubt is sticking in each of the women's mind, which I would put as an uncertainty or an insecurity that we naturally were given into over the past years with our bad experience that we might have faced through various times. So I wish we wish to forget all those and not to reflect back on the negativities, but to take only the positive feedbacks, going forward. And in industries such as mine, basically medical equipment manufacturing, we really have 60-40, where men is more, of course, because it also relies on the manufacturing sector. But men today are grown up by women like us, who are only seeding positivity in the son's mind, so that no men in the coming generation would look up to women as a competition which is unnecessary, but as a competent partner to grow along, be it in a workspace, be it in a family, or be it anywhere. So that's how I would see the future as.
Thank you so much, Kiran. Over to you, Anita and Shirin. The question to you is, so they've highlighted about being a boss, but you have to make your own space when you're reporting to a male and thing as a peer level. So what is your experience of at a peer level leadership skills which are there, and you are competing, the preferences would be given to on a promotion if there is a case of promotion, and then there is a preference given to a male candidate versus vis-a-vis a female candidate. So what is your experience at a peer level, the skill sets, what you look at it at a leadership level, and then how you would want to take it forward, give an opportunity to leaders to emerge? Yeah.
Sure. There is a standard saying that male is recognized by his potential and women has to perform. Once he is performing, then only he is going to be recognized by the management. So yes, it has been happened. it was not easy for me also, because I came from a supervisor level, and now my colleagues are seeing me as a head of the department. It's not easy for them to see me growing. They are maybe joined as a senior manager level, but I joined as supervisor, and now I'm heading a department. So the standard thinking is, see, me going to struggle. And for me, it was a challenge that I never want to see myself. Okay, I'm lacking, and these people should not get any opportunity to point out me that because he had not any experience, that is why he is not able to succeed. That is why I have worked 14, 15 hours also to bring up the changes. They have to see changes, right? What Anita has brought changes in this company. So it was hard, it was not easy. I had to struggle a lot, because that authenticity doesn't come so easy. We have to give our 100% into it. And same way as she was mentioning, they have also slowly accepted. Acceptance is the biggest topic. They have slowly accepted, because I was always ready with a quick answer, quick solution for many of the problems. And that definitely brought a good change.
Wait, I mean, Shireen, you would want to highlight at a peer level, at your level, when you are seeing different colleagues also aspiring to be on the next level. So both of you are aspiring on the next position, and if you have to make your way through, or I'm not saying you as a person to say, but if diversity is making through at a peer level, what are the challenges that you undergo in terms of being accepted, even if the numbers, results speak of its own story, that you are overachieved, overqualified for the positions. But do you see those challenges happening in the corporate world?
So interesting question, right? So firstly, I think the whole gender race is to the point of, think of a physical race, like 400 meter dash, okay? All we are saying is, don't put us 500 meters behind the man running. Just give us the starting point that is the same. So it's really at that stage where the gender fight is all about. After which it should be, and I think it largely is, meritorious. So if I'm looking at a role which requires me to work 14 hours a day, which requires me to travel 20 days in a week, and I'm a mother of a preteen or a young child, then yes, I may not be the best choice for the position. And I think there, as leadership, as an owner of a business or as management, you are not wrong to decide on what is good for the role. So I would never say that, I've been lucky enough probably to not face not being promoted, or not, maybe not being given a equal footing because of my gender. But I would also not be wrong, because if I put myself in the shoes of the decision maker, at the end of the day, we are all there to deliver results for a business. So whoever is best suited to deliver those results is who will be picked and who should be picked. So if my gender is coming in the way, then unfortunate truth, yes, it is. How, therefore, have I overcome that? Like in my case today, I travel quite a bit. I, in fact, my son and my husband live in Hyderabad. I work in Bangalore. So every weekend I'm home, every Monday morning I'm back in office. Right? And if that's going to come
people who know Bangalore geography, and then that's quite a challenge.
Thank you. But and that's happening thanks to the supportive family that I've had, in my husband or my parents or my son for that matter. Similarly at work, while I'm showing up Monday to Friday, but if my work required me to get out and work every Saturday, I won't be the best fit. If tomorrow there's a promotion for a CEO, I may not get picked, right? Because I know I'm not the best suited candidate if it's a 6-day work week, and I should make peace with that. So answering your question, I think really the gender fight is only till the starting point, after which it has to be, and I continues, at least in my case, to be a merit-led race.
Appreciate the very fact that it has to be merit-yes basis. There are globally perspective, like I've worked in certain multinationals where you may have top of the promoters or so as a male dominator, but then as an organization, if you look at it, Microsoft, Google also, we may know Satya Nadella and thing, but down the line, there are organizations which are predominantly led by female. A lot of sales organizations, in Oracle, the entire sales verticals are led by female. Now, are we challenging the role? Not that there will not be in those organizations also not male competing for those kind of positions. But as an organization, they are prepared to accept that even if it is 5-day week or 6-day week, they will give this opportunity. Like Unilever came up with they have a lot of field force female employees. They mandated it very categorically that after 6:30, nobody will travel. Wherever you are, you have time till 7, half an hour, park yourself in next 30 minutes, wherever you are on your strength. And believe you me, there have been calls made to the sales team, there have been mail calls made to from the HR or different groups, and their managers have been fired. There are case studies to it. Their managers have been fired for pushing the female employee to work on that kind of thing. So we build these organizations, we have to be conscious in terms of ensuring overall fostering an environment where there is a growth of our colleagues we are happening.
But to that point, right, I don't think it should be female-led. I don't think it should be for women. It's for both. Excellent.
It's an overall guideline for
Excellent.
everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
then-
that is guideline for any salesperson, female
Absolutely,
or
yeah, exactly. So.
If somebody is pushing it extra, particularly, I mean, I just wanted to highlight that part. That's a kind of an environment that we are building. One last one, and that too, is compliance. Like when I heard, Padma, you mentioning about POSH and all. There are advantageous situations which are there in terms of POSH as a compliance, yes, regulated thing, but there are social dynamics which are changing. And I have come across very, very awkward conditions, being misused by colleagues, our diversity colleagues and all. Like then you are substantiated by the evidences. Now today, there is a company get together. Somebody is dancing, colleagues are dancing. You will get on an FB and various photos are being uploaded on the net and FB and various other Insta and all various social media platforms. If there are appreciations by your colleagues, male colleagues, now there are situations where that has led to serious consequences of it. Because there is a different perspective. So I want to as a last question, and I hear Ronnie keep looking at me and said, "People, you are in control of the situation, but then I'm in control of the mic."
See, as far as this POSH is concerned, I think we're continuously evolving. So there is a recent judgment case which has come up. I don't remember the case details. Earlier, kuch comment mara तभी भी POSH में डाल दिया था. So now there are ways of coming up what is meant under harassment, not just by complimenting. Also, someone had put in a case, and then later she left the organization and put in a case when Bombay High Court said no, it doesn't come under POSH. That guy was demoted. It is from 2017 or 18. I don't remember exactly the case details. But now he filed it again in High Court and he won the case. So we are evolving. So earlier it was totally given protection to the female and everything so that they are not harassed. And as far as parties are concerned, I am not much sure about the POSH thing about parties में अगर कुछ comment किया या उस पे comment किया तो क्या हो जाएगा?
No, these are more evolved cases. I mean, there are cases which are there. This is the one you're referring are part of. This becomes one of the, beyond 7 o'clock, if there is a work assigned on a WhatsApp. These are when I'm talking about, these are changing dynamics. Now today, official communication, your email communication is your work assignments. Today, all of us and people who are in part of the corporate, you are part of various WhatsApp group in the organizations, and WhatsApp becomes your official communication channel. You are assigned a work on a WhatsApp group. These are dynamic changes, and the question is,
this dynamics came because of COVID, because we wanted the delivery to happen on time instead of reaching somebody or what the message is given and everybody is a part of the group, so that if the person is sick or not sick, other person knows and he does the delivery. So I think slowly the organization, we all are very dynamic and flexible, so we adapt to the situation and goes in. And other than emails, there are other channels like even Teams. There is a Teams group, work gets assigned in Teams, whichever is easier. In fact, a lot of communication happens on Teams. So we use the technology so that our end as a business is the customer is happy. But in that process, whatever happens should be aligned wherein whether it is male or female, even male harassment do happen. So whether it is male or female, safety of our employees and the well-being, whether physical or mental, is our job. So we ensure that, that's why we are being, in fact, our MD says, HR is heart for me and finance is the brain. So you are my eyes and ears, so HR heart. So whatever happens, you have to be very open and discuss with me on that. And finance is the brain, so I have to work using that, see, kaisa grow karu. So I think that's how it goes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
No, so no, we have almost spoken the same point. So as what she said, work ethics comes into play, and that's the baseline. If some beneficiaries has been done for a woman, for that matter, I wish and I hope nobody misuses it and knows the reason why something came up, such as POSH or maternity leave from 3 to 6 months, for the need. Maybe if a mother can really choose that if she just needs 4 months, she can come back, but not just for a compulsion, I have a 6 months of leave, I have to mandatorily take. That genuine thing have to come from heart. So that is basic work ethics for anybody. We live by ethics.
So I have a different parallel I want to draw, right? So I'm sure all of us know about the Dowry Harassment Act, right? So can we say hand on heart that nobody misused it? I'm sure there is misuse. But can we also not substantiate with data there were a lot of women who got saved because of that? So yes, there will be misuse for any regulation that you bring in. There will be misuse or any protective or protection acts that come into play. I'm not denying that there is misuse. But do we want to shoot the messenger not looking at what is really, what the benefit, overall larger benefit in the scheme of things is? Because today I have witnessed such scenarios at work personally where I've known someone who is far junior in the organization. There was a sexual harassment case she raised against someone very senior. Eventually she was asked to leave. The gentleman continued in the job. And this is before, this is while POSH came into existence. So for every case that you will have of somebody being misreported or misjudged, there will be cases, many, that will be on the other side. And therefore, I don't think we should write it off saying there is misuse, hence it's not valid. Because there are unheard, unspoken stories that will come to the fore with regulations like this.
You're right, absolutely. Like entire Me Too thing, though it has celebrated.
Even though nobody got arrested, nobody got penalized for it. So that really tells you how much use and misuse can possibly exist.
Could be, but also a lot of celebrities got their work assignments affected, and that got affected. That itself is a. But what we are doing is, as an organization, as a society, that's evolution is happening. We are getting matured in terms of processes as a behavior. Social behaviors are changing. So I think Me Too and all, or maybe the WhatsApp or various other community, to misuse, there will be, obviously there are people who will misuse this kind of opportunities also. So Anita, you would want to?
Yes. So as a presiding officer of POSH myself, house parties also comes under POSH. And by the thanks to government, there are very clear compliances, there are very clear guidelines are there, what can be taken into POSH and what cannot be taken. And for everything, there can be a misutilization also. There only, like us, many seniors are there. There is a committee is there which is going to be decide what is good, what is bad. And I'm sure there is not much of a wrong cases has been filed. And there are good people around there, like you people are there, who is taking care of these women. And I many times feel how these men are feeling several times when we talk POSH, how they are feeling actually, right?
Very true.
So yes, it's being good taken care.
You're not creating
nicely.
pressure, right?
Please carry on. Please carry on. Very interesting.
We are done. Thank you.
Because I was wondering, it's a ladies' session and only half an hour, impossible. So please conclude.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is the topic, I think, in the entire crowd and entire audience. and the panel can continue to speak for hours together. At least this is subject where we can have continuous deliberations across on various aspects. Such is the merit of the situation where we are moving in as an organization, as a society, as a country, and from a diversified perspective. Now, how many are able to appreciate? Like we all of us saw Sunita Williams coming down. She has a family for herself, and 9 months going, like anybody who goes on a assignment and you get stuck for 9 months. Can you imagine? She had no choice. Appreciate that, madam.
There was a man. Yes. Sometimes women are overhyped.
Smith also, I know, Baltimore also happened in that. Well, but there is also an important aspect, and thanks to my esteemed panel over here for bringing a lot of diversified views on it. I would, before we give our perspective, I would open Q&A session. And yeah, thank you so much. Can we have the mics rotating?
Oh, you're actually having a Q&A? Okay.
Roni, sorry.
No, it's okay.
The payment is linked.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, take one. I think, yeah.
Thanks for a very interesting topic. It's a passion for me, especially since I run a lot of women leadership programs. Adding to all the diverse views, I'd like to add one more. And that is when I'm doing a lot of coaching for women leaders, what I found very often is the belief system that I'm not a good mother, I'm not a good wife, etc., if I take help and support. So while men are changing, their views are changing, they're very supportive and they do contribute a lot. Very often I have to actually do a little bit of mind shift change in the women itself. Please accept that support. Please accept it. It does not make you any lesser of a woman or anything. So I think that's also a point that we should also focus on. And just wanted to share that viewpoint.
It's very, very important because more than the belief, it's the guilt.
Guilt and resentment are two very common emotions I come across when I'm doing the women leadership programs.
It's the guilt, like if your child makes a mistake or child suffers some failure, where did I go wrong being a mother that he is failing? I try to provide everything. So that acceptance that it's okay that he can fail or she can fail is not there. It always boils down to us saying that, or at least for me, it took a time. I had to tell myself, no, it's okay.
We have to rewire ourselves.
Yes.
So,
very valid point. Thanks for sharing it.
Thank you so much for sharing this. And on behalf of this panel is one part of it. But then I have my better half also. So when I look at it and so she was also from an HR fraternity. So most of the time at the discussions of HR and then views at point of time, there used to be compelling discussions which used to happen. And so she brought me a very important perspective and I would want to leave. So all of us are, either you are an HR head or you are doing a particular one role. We are involved in one role. A woman is never into a one role. She's never a one role, person. She is a mother, she's an educationist. You have to go back and teach your kid, you have to be a breadwinner. I mean, today's time, it has become a parallel challenging scenario that single income breadwinners, you need to have your co-workers also, co-partners also having additional income, and that's a reality of life. Or you're married to a person who you don't want to gone are the days that you would want to limit their career by getting married and putting them to. So that aspect, when we look at it, they are multifaceted roles that they're doing. So the view that my wife gave me, and this is. She cut me to size. That is one thing I want to say. That she brought me a perspective, a Hindu mythological perspective. Bole, men cannot come near a women. Let me give you a perspective. So Adi Shakti. So if you go, there are Adi Shaktis across from an Indian perspective. there are Adi Shaktis. बोले हनुमान जी का मंदिर एक ही है. You will find there are only few perspectives. But Adi Shaktis, if you go back, dwell into our religion perspective, men have to reach to do various prayers and all to come to an Adi Shakti level. You do various enchantments, various prayers to come to a level where you are to qualify for a women. And women starts from there when men acclaims to reach others. So, and different aspect is that Adi Shaktis are always on top of mountains and various other places. So she cut me to size and said, you have to qualify to reach to me. So don't even, don't even talk of equating yourself. So this is where I would want to highlight, and I took little longer on in terms of, it is one of the theme that I wanted to drive is ecosystem fostering, and as a leader, we have to continue to tell these stories to our employees, colleagues, that you are way above than men. I think this as a society, why in a Western culture, male and female, the male has to go and wash the dishes.
It's just matter of coexistence. I really even want to tell nobody is above nobody. Yeah. Honestly, I want to tell that. Yeah. Because this all one above the other comes from mythology where, goddess Shakti or, the river Ganga, everything is revered. But in the reality, it was top down, honestly. So now let's talk about holding hands, going together, growing together, climbing the stairs together, rather than thinking one is top of another. And as I told, the characterization of being a mother, and as she rightly spot, the guilt and resentment is a matter. And I also want to talk, address the certain mindset of certain women society who guilt the women for not being, feeling the guilt. Because I have seen many women, I will even tell my mother for that matter, if I'm going to say, I'm stepping out of the house, she'll be asked, okay, did your husband eat food? But that question doesn't come to my husband when he says he's going to go out. So that's the thing which we have to really start addressing from the house. And that's the basic mindset shift that has to come. And I'm sure that shift will keep on rippling, multiplying in multifolds, and the whole society will stand in a different place.
I think Ronnie is trying to create, and we have a pressure for the lunch also. But I'll take this. There are two questions which are coming up, right? Yeah, you want to take that questions and answer.
Mr. Dave, it will be a 1 minute question, 1 minute answer. Is that way? Okay.
So, it's not a question. In fact, what I thought, another perspective I wanted to aid. So it was a wonderful discussion. So another perspective which, I wanted to aid is this, that, lots of time that, we talk about that there is women are superior, they have lots of, this. I really agree with Carlin, what Carlin said. Like, there's God has made, apart from those, natural differences, I believe God has made everyone equal. And if we can go away with this kind of a mentality, and thanks to the new generation which is coming now, they don't have any differences. They are saying what a guy can do, a girl can also do. So that kind of a mentality, that kind of a culture has to be brought. And we can not imagine that, how much boost we can bring to the Indian economy if 50% of our women partners, they start working. They start working, they start contributing.
Thanks, that's a very valid point.
Yeah. So, and as far as safety is concerned, Posh has come in 2013. Jhansi Ki Rani was long back. So I think women can take care of the safety of themselves, and not only themselves. Jhansi Ki Rani safeguarded the whole state. So that's
very valid point.
Thanks,
Just to add on to about the current generation, I think we as parents have given them the thought process that men and boys and girls are equal, due to which their thought process, it all comes with what we do it at home.
Okay, last question, last answer. Thank you. Sir, you want to say something? Yes, sir.
What I will say is that from my experience, my career, I had lady bosses.
Would you introduce yourself? Sorry.
I'm Dr. J.P. Das. I work as a general manager in a National Academy of Defense Production. What I say that two ways, I have seen my manufacturing unit, apparel unit, the ladies were most productive. I had seen my bosses very cooperative and very accommodative, and they were the best of the time. So point is that what we are trying to say, women always representation is always good. At the same time, I'll just like to bring out IOCL has brought a program called Arohi. What happens normally, representation of the women at a senior level is less. That's what generally. So what they try to do is that somebody is going up, they try to coach him so that she can rise to that position. But at the same time, I would just like to bring out sometime ladies at themselves are responsible for their own behavior. Because I see, I train a lot of, I teach students. My girl students are casual. They don't put that kind of effort. Secondly, when I deal with my subordinates sometime in office, because you carry many identities. You carry the identity as an officer. I deal with Government of India officers. And somebody is a woman. So she will try to impose that she is first woman, then an officer. I said, no, you are a first woman and then an officer. So the sense of the right versus duty, in case of women, I find their sense of the rights are more compared to their duties. So we want a more fairer world. What I can suggest, instead of an 8-hour job, we want a flexible workplace. Can't you have a 6-hour workplace? Can't you have a 4-hour workplace? Can you give more space to everybody? So that way we can bring up both men and women together. We should not say that, fine. Only point that proportionate representation should be there in each level. In operation, that should not be there. Because we have cases, ladies have been arrogant, they are equally corrupt. You have Madhvi Puri, you have Chanda Kochar. So not necessarily, we should not idolize men or women. It should be neutral and we should promote a flexible workplace. Thank you so much.
Perfect. You have said what we have to exactly say.
Great. Okay.
One second.
You want to respond to that?
Not respond,
Okay.
but I want to, on behalf of Talent Value, and I think you made a very valid point. On behalf of Talent Value as an organization, what we'll do is, Ishika, just capture this part. This panel and as a women diversity, let us put it on a social media, our commitment that we want to create. I mean, I'm not going into bureaucratic, political bylaws, laws or so. We want to highlight that there is a need for everywhere. I mean, we are talking about women empowerment or women leadership. There is a need for everywhere. Let us, and again, not going by perspective that we want to advocate anything. No, we are saying that we will create a fostering an environment across, and we will support everybody. I mean, when you know women, there are all types of kids or all type of students, all type of things. But we are not going by the law of exceptions in that thing. Deserving people have to be recognized. We have to ensure that environment is created. So we'll, on behalf of Talent Value, we will try to promote and on a commitment from our side as an organization, we'll keep this as this panel.
Thank you.
We'll try to do that.
Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to our wonderful panel, Colin Wilson, Shireen Sultana, Anita Sahu, V. Padma Priya, and our moderator, Mr. Vipul Dave. Please stand up for a group picture. Give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Wow. Make a pretty picture. And somebody was speaking about the role, several roles the women does, which we all agree. But remember one thing, I have been married for 38 years, and every single day I pick up the fruits and the vegetables myself personally. I also buy, no problem, thank you.